Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My esteemed viewers, welcome to Gunjuru News Online, another edition of daily COVID-19 updates. Here today I have Ben Suwareh as my guest. Ben is a star. We're supposed to come 8:30 UK time. 8:15, sorry, but he managed to beat that. Ben, welcome.
Thank you, Ahmad. How are you?
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Ben, we will be discussing a burning issue of the past week. There is no better issue to discuss about the recent riots across the world or demonstration in America and even in the Gambia. I believe some groups are organizing a protest. In fact, I have been contacted by one group who want to at least, create sort of a network whereby, it can be activated anytime. For example, if there is something people need to put their message across to the government, they just activate it, and, just go out there and demonstrate. So I think what is happening in America and Europe and even Australia, I think is very, very much relevant to Gambia and other African countries. I was listening to Obama yesterday. Somebody asked him about, whether maybe the black folks should stop demonstrating, throwing stones, burning places, and also and concentrate on voting. He said no. You cannot let government to be comfortable. You need to take them on. So
yes, Ahmed.
yeah, I think they actually need to continue to put pressure on their governments. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I say I'll give a brief update about COVID-19,
Okay.
and then you can go from there. The direct action and all that. Thank you. So,
Okay.
guys, as usual, this is our daily COVID-19 update, but we always have something to discuss about. And Ben has been coming here for the past 3 weeks, on Thursdays. And when you're online and our viewers, I know you appreciate that Ben is a very, very busy man, but also he's very, very passionate about the Gambia. So he's gone to Lent. In fact, today I feel a little bit guilty because these guys just come from work, he should be with the family, but we appreciate it. It's all about nation building. So, guys, COVID-19, if we, or just to remind you, it started in China, in Wuhan, in December 2019. And since this pandemic hit us, about 6 million people, 647,305 infected, 390,453 dead. And right now, the current active cases stands at 3,050,634. And out of that, 98% is on mild condition. That is 2,995,000 people, 560. Number of people in critical or seriously ill with COVID-19 is 55,074. And just to remind you, even though the numbers in Europe are coming down seriously, that doesn't mean that this virus is slowing down. In fact, the virus is on the increase. In fact, today there is another daily record, across the world, over 150,000 new cases, and over 6,000, almost 7,000 dead. So that's a really, really high numbers. And also the countries, top 10 most affected countries, U.S. recorded 11,114 new cases past 24 hours and 563 dead. Brazil recorded 11,132 new cases and 491 dead. Brazil now, or Latin America in general, is the new epicenter. We hope we don't see these numbers in Africa because that will be catastrophic. Russia recorded 8,831 new cases, 169 dead. Spain recorded 334 and 5 dead. UK recorded 1,805 and 176 dead. Italy recorded 177 and 88 dead. And India, again, 3 weeks in, every day they break their own national records. India recorded 9,801 cases and 275 dead, and Germany recorded 231 cases and 15 dead. And countries that are very, very close to Senegal, of course, Gambia. Of course, we are surrounded by Senegal on both sides, except the Atlantic Ocean. But Gambia, because of its geography, is very, very close to places like Ivory Coast, Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau, and Mali, and Burkina Faso. So I also bring those numbers just to remind Gambians, as long as the causes are present, the effect is inevitable. So we have to be very, very careful, even though Gambia is opening up now, but I believe the borders will remain closed for some time. Senegal past 24 hours recorded 89 new cases, and so far Senegal registered 4,021 cases. Guinea-Conakry recorded 86 new cases past 24 hours, and so far their number stands at 3,110. And Mali recorded 75 new cases, and so far their numbers are 1,461. This one should ring some alarm bell, because Burkina Faso past 24 hours recorded 455 new cases. That's almost the same rate as European countries now. Burkina Faso so far recorded 884 cases, and Sierra Leone recorded 5 new cases past 24 hours. Right now, their numbers are 914, and Gambia's numbers are still 26, and that's why they are opening up prayer houses, and also markets opening time, I think, is also extended. So that's good news, but also we have to be on our guard. Then you will understand, you will see. Yeah, but you can continue. I will try to bring my camera if I can. I don't know what happened, but I lost it.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed, for giving us the platform again. And you have touched on very important happenings. We started from the United States, and which was about police brutality, racism. And we have seen solidarity in Europe and African countries. And as you said, we have seen the case in the Gambia. Probably some people came out and went to the American embassy. In Senegal, it was a different case. It was actually about the COVID curfews, and the people, went on a riot, and this put pressure on the Senegalese government, and they decided to open up the economy more. And I think Gambia should be really concerned. Gambia should be really concerned. Why Gambia should be concerned is these are the realities of life. In governance, you have 3 sectors of governance. You have the private sector, you have the public sector, and you have the civil society. And in a democracy, you have the check and balance system. You have the organs of the organs of governance, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and the press, for that matter. These are the organs that keep this stability. When there's integrity in the executive, integrity in the legislature, and integrity in the justice, judiciary, plus that there's there's good press freedom. What it does is it maintains stability. But when you have a country that have a governance problem, where the executive is questioned, where the judiciary is in question, where the legislator is been seen to be doing part of the job expected of them. Why did I say part of the job expected of them? They are bringing out embryos from inviting politicians
You Jamin ko lost an camera of Talem
sorry,
sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead. Sorry, Ben.
they are inviting the politicians or the ministers to come on and to the house, but end of the day nothing comes out of it. They come and admit, or they come and find out that they have not been done the right thing, but we have still not seen anybody censored. It's matter of the citizen getting frustrated and seeing that things are not working. The organs of government, they expected to represent them, to make sure the system work. It's not working. This would force the citizens to take the laws into their hands, or in this case, in a democratic dispensation, is part of their right to take the streets, part of their right to demonstrate. These are all rights they have. If we want to minimize the scene demonstrations or riots, we have to govern right. Let's take in the case of Senegal. Even though they have done a lot for this COVID emergency, but they have failed in the other aspects, because we keep on telling people the problem is not only a medical emergency, it's a social economic emergency, and all these three other sectors have to be dealt with. Make sure people have their freedom. People freedoms will be taken, but their livelihood should not be threatened. It the patience of people, and for that time, and now they feel threatened, and what happened? They come out and show their frustration. And when they come out to show their frustration, yes, what triggers it might be about the COVID, curfew, but when people come out, all the other issues they have bottled would be coming to the surface. This is the reason when people come out, it's really, if we are not careful, it becomes nasty. But let's bring it back to the Gambia. As in the case of the Gambia, or in the case of the US, what have we witnessed? We witnessed a country that came out from a dictatorship, in the case of the Gambia, and end up, having hopes, and those hopes dust completely out of the way. But one thing that remain, one thing that the people gain and remain, is the freedoms. The freedom to express themselves, freedom to move. These are freedoms that, and the fear is taken out of the way. We can never be put back to where it was. And these people have now the freedoms to express themselves as they have never had before. These people have enjoyed so much so that there's no other fear that can come onto them. And these people have understood what they went through to the extent of they don't want to be caged again. And the government failed to be an effective government. They pretend to be democracy. They pretend to be, doing development. But the development is talking about bridges, roads. But these things are not having immediate impact onto the livelihood of people. Again, they inherited a country that is completely damaged, bankrupt morally. Bankrupt morally. In a sense, is you cannot have a country that was divided. Yahya Jammeh was able to do what he did because we are divided. We stayed in the dictatorship 23 years because we are divided. The minute we came together, we ended dictatorship. Now we expected. How did we end the dictatorship? It was based on our social capitals. It was based on society behaving and doing the right things. It was based on society bringing their human resource capitals, bringing their strength together to do something. And with all these societal capitals that have been ruined, the social fabric was completely teared off. Now we have the country went upside down. The people we expected to represent us, being the opinion leaders, being the religious leaders, being civil servants, being the military, being the police, actually they all failed the Gambian people. Now, we came in and decided that the institutions that fail or society that have failed have to be fixed, and that was the reason we have the agenda to, to reform. Said that we are going to reform. And the reform process was in not only the democratization, but no, it's about institutional building to make sure the country is fit for purpose. Again, to make sure the democracy have credibility and the elections have integrity, and there's a level playing field for people to contest again. But what did we have in this case? I mean, the president allowed, because why did I say the president allowed? He had the executive powers. He had the executive powers. Whatever motivated him, he had the choice to do the right thing. He was not caged. He was there. Nobody put a gun on his head. It was his desire. It was his greed, and it's proven. He decided to continue what he have inherited in the absence of going out to kill Gambians, because Gambians did not allow that or would not allow that, or to cage Gambians because Gambians would not allow to be caged anymore. What he continued was to bring back people, or maintain and bring back even people that have served the dictator, and to entrench himself for what he wants out of government. He is not into government. He didn't go into government for what he can do to improve or to serve. No, he went in to improve himself and people that surround him, that enable him to be what he wants to be. And in this process, what have we witnessed? We witness a president that is not trustworthy. We witness a president that's corrupt. We witness a president that has no empathy, because the proof is we have not seen him with the victims. He has not done right with the victims. The president is not interested in the social institutions. The president is not interested in the hospitals. The president is not interested in schools. All the concentration of the president is about himself and whatever keeps him in power and continues some power. Every form of reform that we instituted, the president decided, to fail on that. We have seen the commissions, the Janet Commission report, and the way it's been dealt with, and now the Court of Appeal have just given an interpretation to show that the government have faulted again. And we have seen the most important document, the commission, the draft constitution. This government want to tamper with it in order to serve the purpose of one person instead of serving the purpose of the Gambians to last centuries to come. This is the failings we have, and the other failings is the standard of living. And we went through this COVID and have the evidence. What the COVID did was to expose every country how unprepared were you. And in the sense of Gambia, it exposed the incompetence of government. In the case of the Gambia, it exposed the corruption of the government. In the case of the Gambia, it exposed the agenda that the president have admitted on the media to say that he have his own boss, he have his agenda. You are with him or without him. Or you are of that boss. And the failure of COVID, the COVID, but been every form of it. When we have the evidences, the Minister of Health coming to the House of Parliament to talk, to expose the failure in the structures, the failure of capacity, the failure of managing the resources. We have the Minister of Interior coming to Parliament to say that, look, the laws or the instructions that I need to operate, I've not seen them. I didn't have access to them. I don't know what to do. I'm not prepared. These are evidences that we cannot run away from. But again, the physical evidence we have seen, Now the government had to resort in bringing Mr. Senghor after not doing the right thing by the constitution, by using the National Disaster Management Agency to do the right. Now bring Mr. Senghor. And 2 days ago, we heard that the former Vice President Fatmata Tambajang have been hired as a communication strategist or help them communicate better. And why all these failures? And we have been pointing out that they had failed. But the most shameful thing is, one of the simplest things on earth is to distribute rice. Over $278 million have just gone into thin air. We all know that the quantity of rice to be distributed have not been purchased to be distributed. But the little they have managed to put together, again, they have been exported. Most of these were put in Alcalos compounds, kept there so that they can use it politically. And because of the pressure from the social media, what happened? Now they have to find out they cannot even manage now to distribute this rice to the needy. But again, as I said, the failure of the executive is completely clear. But there's the failure of what the legislature, the parliament have been investigating, but they have powers to sanction. But we have not seen them use the sanction powers onto offices, that represents government. Now, the citizens are not satisfied and are not convinced of the effectiveness of the parliament. And the judiciary, the justice system, the Gambia judiciary for almost 4 years now has not prosecuted a single case that is of high corruption or any treasonable offense successfully. We have seen the case with with Yankuba Ture. We have seen the case with the NIA 9. We have seen the case about the cocaine traffickers. There's nothing have been done by the justice minister. Now, the citizens are getting hopeless. The citizens are getting hopeless. All the organs, they have to represent them to bring about peace and stability. And so that the economic activities can be utilized. The conducive environment to develop themselves is not available. What do you expect those people to do? Those people will be coming out to demand their representations to be effective in order. The officers appointed or the elected to serve them. The only problem we have, the civil society in the Gambia, which should have been very effective, it's not effective as it should have been. I keep saying this when we just during the impasse, when we came out and we had this Gambia have decided movement. Most people looked at the movement and said it's like a Gambian form of Yanamar. But I said it could have even be most sophisticated than a Yanamar, because they can be more effective than Yanamar and achieve better. But we have the problem of continuity. If we found something good, we have a problem of maintaining the goodness and enhancing that goodness to make sure we utilize the goodness to the benefit of all. And we have lots of civil society organizations in the Gambia, but the issue is they're not effective to do what they're meant to do. But this should be a concern, because if we don't have leadership in the civil society to be able to lead disgruntled people, what will happen is whenever people come out, it might turn to anarchy. We have seen this case in Haiti. Haiti, whenever the people come out, because they're not organized, the civil society is not structured, what happened is the country go into flames. And this is a warning to Gambians. This is a warning to the institutions in charge. This is the warning to the parliament. This is warning to the judiciary. And to make sure, and us citizens, that we take an urgency in the affairs of state to make sure that we hold government accountable. There's a vacuum in the Gambia. And as I keep on saying, it's only the goodwill of the Gambian people that keep the peace and stability of that country. It's not through governance, and it's not through to the functions of the security sector. We all know the security sector is not fit for purpose, and they needed to be reformed, and the reform process have failed. We are completely, as people keep on saying, the presence of economic have given us a resemblance of stability. But again, economic cannot deal with internal matters. Economic, they have a different mandate. If the Gambian people decided to come out and behave in another way, it's an internal issue that the security institutions should take care of, and that will risk an instability.
Yeah, Ben, thank you very much. After that analysis, I have to tell you, well, I am a little bit scared, but at the same time, um, you cannot ignore the fact Gambia need a very, very good organized civil society organization
Yeah,
like Yanamar type that can be activated anytime. In fact, just today I was having a conversation with this Greenpeace guy in Mauritania.
yeah.
They try to help us with some kind of capacity building, that
Hmm.
how we can organize and resist without breaking the law, but this
Yeah,
COVID-19 happened.
yeah.
So but Gambia right now, probably if we are organized, we don't even need a permit. Just to go
Yeah.
and assemble in itself is not
Hmm.
illegal. Why would
Hmm.
you need police for that? But
Hmm.
you go, as you say, just like Haiti, all hell could break rules.
Yeah.
Gambia is on a borrowed time. You mentioned certain characteristics of President Barrow, which are all true. But what really, really shocked me about him is his lack of empathy. How
Yes.
the disconnect between this guy and the common man is just unbelievable.
Hmm.
Gambian have been suffering for 22 years.
Hmm.
So we expect somebody who came in to have that connection with the general populace, the common
Yeah.
man. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about the bourgeois, but what is exactly happening? We've seen the influx
Yeah.
of these exile mafias
Yeah.
now taking control, running amok. I think that's a very, very dangerous situation. So
Hmm.
in this kind of situation, what do you expect? What will you recommend Gambia need to do now? Because we need that arm of Obama said is not going to vote,
Hmm.
turning up at the voting day and vote. You cannot let government to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So burning places, nobody in their right mind will encourage you to do, or
No.
throwing stones at the police. But it's all
No.
part of democracy.
Yeah.
These are the control measures that keep democracy on its feet. You
Yeah.
cannot have a system and let it go on its own. So,
Hmm.
what would you recommend for the Gambian youth now? What do we need to do? Because this is about our present and future.
Ahmad, as you rightly said, President Barrow lacked all the good traits of a leader completely. But President Barrow harbours all the bad traits of a leader, and the incompetence of President Barrow is a national security concern. I'll tell you today. I'll tell you this afternoon. Once I was coming back from work, the cabinet is completely disarray. The cabinet is not functional, and Barrow cannot, control the cabinet. And these are issues. That's why you see government is not effective. And there are members of cabinet that now cannot even access Barrow because Barrow have felt that these people misled him. I mean, they made all this promise for him that he's popular and everything will be working right. But things are not. He is now finding out that things are not rosy as he thought they are. But he is in a corner. The guy doesn't know any other way to bring. To take control. He would be controlled. Now the people that control him, these are the problem he have problem with. He cannot be rescued. As you said, something have to be done. I expect, especially if we have, issues like this. It's just mind-boggling. Why the
Yeah.
opposition are not coming together to sit down and have an inter-party discussion about the state of affairs, so that they can look at how can we keep this country stable, how can we make sure the democratic foundations are solid, and up to the time of elections, how to make sure there's integrity in the elections. Then, when we get to elections, they can decide how they want to, go and battle it out. But it's just beyond me that Gambian opposition are not speaking together. I know they are speaking behind the scene, but only thing they strategizing is about the elections. We are not up to elections yet. The country is in a crossroad. This is where leadership is proven. They shouldn't be in politics only thinking of winning and being in the state house. No, they should be active all the time to make sure their activities are helping to improve the governance and improve the country. This is a big failing. These are the main areas. But again, my disappointment to the new political parties. We had about two. We had, Bibi Dabo, who should have we had about DA. We had about another party, Dr. Sen and Dr. Ture or Mr. Ture. These are all new parties. Now, they've been telling us that there's a vacuum here. We are not represented. We want to start something new. What are they doing in the interim to try to make sure that they are part of what helps the governance to be effective? Why can't they take the initiative and call up and invite for a inter-party conference? Why can't they do that? They don't have to wait for the big parties. And most of these big parties are not seen eye to each other. Then the smaller parties or the new parties could be the bridge to bring the parties together to sit down on the table. We are not saying that you come in as a coalition to do anything. We are saying so that you will be effective to work as political parties. In the sense of the civil society, I have seen people who pointed out, actually, is Sulayman who pointed out to say, oh, why the Gambia civil society are thinking of going to demonstrate about racism in America or police brutality in America? Why are they not demonstrating for corruption and other issues? This is a problem we have. The problem we have. This is we have to be serious as whatever we do. We cannot be calling ourselves civil society, and what only thing we know of is going to conferences, attending whatever workshops and getting paid allowances, or jump into issues as they come along. That's not what a civil society group is. Not what a civil society group is. We expect these people to stand up and take the issues accordingly, and to make sure they are heard. The pressure, that comes out is always coming out from social media. The pressure that comes out is always coming out from social media. It's not from the opposition. It's not from from any other form, but the participation we do on social media. This is where the government has been present. The government has been present in a way that the intelligence here in the international diplomacy, they do code. They do code. They observe what happens on social media and decide the things they approach the government with. This has been reported. That's been reported. We have seen the quality of journalists in the country. They are not reporting what is actually happening, what the problems are. They are actually following the news and reporting the news instead of investigating. The news itself, and make sure the people are informed and officers are held accountable. And this keeps on us in a very difficult position because of we are primed to always think of elections as the time to change government. We are not primed to think of the participation in the process would be changing government. and it makes it easier when elections. Gets here, that the elections will be easier dealt with. This is my position. The civil society should have to start looking at issues of concern and start to highlight the issues of concern and find strategies to make sure these issues are dealt with and people are held accountable on this. For instance, today, if you go online to find out anything about the Gambian elections, the IEC is telling you that they are waiting for a budget to be approved in order to able to conduct their business. Then see how independent the IEC is. The IEC cannot determine anything without the intervention of the executive. How can that institution be independent? Now, the president, the executive wants to delay elections. All he have to do is to delay the sponsorship.
Yeah.
To delay the sponsorship. Where is the opposition in this? Now, if we did not go for referendum up till 2021, and still the IC didn't tell us when in 2021, what would guarantee us we'll have a credible elections? Now, the referendum will be dealt with in 2021. And how many months would we need? Registration has not been done yet. People need to be registered. How long would it take? There's a lot of process we have to go through in order to have this dealt with. We have not done. We have not dealt with the question about we trying to start using a ballot, the paper ballot, and this is what we're telling them. Now, just imagine the problem that we might encounter, and this might destabilize the country. And we know for certain that the president is not popular enough to win an election. The president, as it is today, if elections was held, the president would struggle to take the third position. He would struggle to take the third position. And if the president realizes that the only way he can win election, you think that he would not try to manipulate the system in order to have advantage to the election? He would. Especially if he realizes that I am doing all this malpractice, I am so incompetent and nothing is coming out of it. I'll take the risk of trying to structure a malpractice here in order to guarantee the win of elections. And that might bring us instability. The civil society, Gambians for that matter, and the opposition, we have to be serious to understand what governance is. It's not about going to elections. Democracy is not only about elections. Democracy is where we hold the government accountable as we go in order to improve government. But we are failing in this, and the stability of the country should be first all the time. And you ask yourself, how can the country be stabilized? How can the peace be maintained? If the mechanism we have in place, we don't put mechanism we put in place are not functional, then we are bound to have a fault line, and any fault line can cause us, our stability.
Yeah, Ben, thank you very much. The guy you mentioned who said, why would Gambia or any other African country be protesting or demonstrating about what is happening in America?
Yeah.
What is happening in America is happening to our brothers and sisters. These people were forcefully removed from Africa. I think all the time, if there is anything that should happen to the black people anywhere in the world, Africa should lead that protest. We have seen in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, they are Chinese. It's just the Chinese are going back on their promises. But we've seen the British, how strong they're coming. They have like, I don't know how many million people,
3 million.
who have these, exactly, British passport. They can come and work, work in England, but they can even increase that number. That to show their support, that we got the idea. Africans should lead. That's, I think, another lack of leadership. And it's about time. It's even more urgent. If Africa can capitalize on the racism that is continue in the US, they build Africa and get rid of corruption. Don't you think the black Americans will find it attractive to come back and invest. You know,
Yeah, Ahmad, I point noted. I think what the chap was trying to express is, why do we wait for other people to lead for
okay,
us to deal with problems? He's
exactly.
not against the demonstrators, but he's asking, with all the
Yeah,
numerous problems we have, why didn't you
yeah,
guys organize yourself to do something about it? And
yeah.
as you quite rightly say, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere,
Everywhere. Yeah.
especially if it impacts on your own, people. And I think Gambians, we should think about this, properly. I made this point 2 days ago.
Yeah.
We have to be very serious. The Gambia is the only country we have. We might have our passports, we might live with a family everywhere else, but we cannot, because ourselves proud people, when we
Yeah.
have a country like, the way it is, what are we proud of?
Yeah.
What is our achievement? Because we have
Yeah.
to remember, our
Yeah.
achievement is not only being a father, being a husband, but our achievement is doing our citizens' duty. Our achievement is in fact, doing the right thing for our founding fathers. What what would we leave behind? You think our wealth will be something that history would remember? No. What history would remember is our deeds. Ahmad, we as Gambians, we move from a sophisticated leadership from the founding fathers and deteriorated to the extent of you cannot just understand what sense does it make when you have
Yeah.
accomplished Gambians all over the world, but and inside the Gambia itself, but now we are led by people. Just look at the president and the people around the president. And now, how can we be proud of calling ourselves, achievers, higher achievers,
Yeah.
but these people are the people who are leading us? Why am I bringing this thing here? Before we think about attracting African
Yeah.
Americans, we should think about attracting us. Make sure our Jalos, Bojangs, Gomez and Mendes and all the sons and daughters we have in these countries, in the diaspora, would be proud of. Or we continue their heritage and represented as Gambian. I give you an
Gambians.
example here. Lebanon is the most dysfunctional country on earth.
Yeah.
The simple reason, it's not only about the Lebanese themselves. It's about the geopolitics around Lebanon. Even the Lebanese, if they want to be stabilized, they cannot be stabilized because of the politics around them cannot keep them stabilized. But regardless of all those troubles, Lebanese anyway is a Lebanese, citizen in heart. They
Yeah.
repatriate their profits. When we had the economic meltdown, the crash, Lebanon was one of few countries that were liquid, and the reason is because of repatriation their profits they make. And the country has gone to civil war and rebuilt many times. If you see Lebanon, you won't believe that this country have gone through civil war. Look at the Gambia. It's a country. You look at Gambia, it's as we are just coming out of a civil war. Not only the infrastructure, not only the environment, but the behavior of people tells you how much have we suffered. In order,
Yeah. But
in order to
Ben,
for
sorry
other
to
people to appreciate us, we have to appreciate ourselves.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you there, but
Yes,
that is very, very important. I think that's all down to how divided we are. I
yes,
think the lack of unity or lack of concentration among the politicians is
yeah,
the same lack of trust and among the civil society organizations. So
yes.
don't you think we underestimate the level of politics Yahya Jammeh played on Gambia's psyche? He divided us so much. is going to take maybe, I don't know, I don't want to mention the word generation because that will be a
Yeah, yeah,
disaster,
yeah.
for Gambians to even trust each other to come together for a common cause. And this could fall very much into the hands of people like accidental presidents like Adama Barrow.
Okay. Um,
Because people, yeah, go ahead.
Ahmad, you have a very valid point. But what you're talking about is, if we're not careful, it will take us generations to fix Gambia.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Ahmad, if we're not careful, if we continue this way, I can bet on this. And this is not based on speculation, it's based on my understanding of national security. All the components that were present in Sierra Leone to bring about the civil war is right
Yeah.
now in Gambia. We are not out of the woods. All the components that, factors that were present in Liberia, they're right now in Gambia. All the factors that were present in Ivory Coast are right now in the Gambia. All the other factors, I mean, we have a problem of leadership. And if I say a problem of leadership, I am not talking of Adama Barrow alone, but I am talking of leadership across the board. Leadership, we all have a position of leadership some way or somehow. We don't step up to take that position. But one thing I can assure you with, the only reason we are still a kind of have a resemblance of stability, or the only reason we have not gone to civil war during Yajame's time, it's because of the nature of the average Gambian. You said that Yajame has taken us or divided it so much. You know, Gambians probably didn't understand when Yajame said he's going to govern the country for 1,000,000 years. What
Yes.
Yajame was saying is he's going to transform the Gambia, and he will going to have a Gambia that is his Gambia, and that Gambia would stay entrenched for 1,000,000 years. What Yajame was doing was socially re-engineering the Gambian people. And everything was torn upside down. And if he was given another opportunity, I tell you, he could have achieved his dreams, because of Gambians have getting to a level point that they wanted to accept. The elections of 2016 was crucial. After the 2016, I'll tell you, a lot of people would have retired and given up. But what brought out the change, Ahmad? It was leadership. Leadership from the diaspora first. Let me put this clear. Without the diaspora factor, we would not have had a coalition. Without the diaspora factor, we would not have won elections. I am not undermining or underrating or underestimating the sacrifices of people. But any sacrifice that was sustainable, or that was achieved, or that happened in the country, it was engineered or supported or backed by the diaspora. All the political parties, where any political party that was genuine in the Gambia was sustained by the diaspora. Financially, intellectually, spiritually, in whatever form you think of. Then the leadership came out from the diaspora, but leadership came out from the people on the ground. You ask me questions, why do I say the people on the ground gave us leadership? Because they made it clearly that they are not going to participate in any elections or support any political parties if political parties didn't come together. They made this completely clear. And the political parties realize that now we are present from all angles. And all the factors that happen, the death of Solo Sending, and the arrest of the UDP executive, and all these are factors that led us, but it came out from leadership for it to be successful. Then the Gambian people are not at fault. In general, what is at fault here is leadership. That leadership that came out from the diaspora should continue to engage, to look for solutions to bring about a meaningful change in the country. The leadership that came out from civil society and the average Gambians should come out and then to speak louder, to make sure we put pressure. You see, politicians are only good when they are cornered. Politicians are very only good when they are cornered. That's why it's always good to have an effective opposition in a country to take out the being complacent. The country cannot be fixed if we
Yeah.
don't have the leadership that should fix
Yeah.
it. The
Yeah.
the government people will come together if if the people bring about leadership that will bring government people together. But as you said, right now we have just gone back to our base and very divisive and divisive position, and governments are so hopeless now. In a sense, with any little bit of green shoots, people tend to want to gravitate towards it. I give you an example. The evidence is very shock.
Yeah.
I am amazed that governments are seeing something apart from the boldness to stand up.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
have not had anything what to say that I should hold on to this. Nothing,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
Nothing.
when don't you think that's just a testament to how bad Barrow is? Gambians
Thank
are
you. Not only
Gambians are dying
not
for
only
that
Barrow,
leader.
not only
Yeah.
Barrow, not
Okay.
only Barrow. The vacuum, I'm
Okay.
telling you, Ahmad,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
testimony of the vacuum we have. Because remember, in order to win elections, you
Yeah.
are going to maintain your base, but you should be
Yeah.
able to win from and support
Yeah.
from different base.
Yeah.
And as we are now, almost every political party in the country have a
Yeah.
base, and that base is identified as a tribe.
Yeah. Yeah.
That base is
Ben,
identified as a tribe.
we are running out of time, and I have two
Okay.
very important questions
Okay, go
that I
ahead.
want you to talk on. But on this, still on this vacuum, power vacuum or leadership vacuum we are experiencing. But don't you think, like Ben, if I'm talking about myself, if I'm opposition right now in the Gambia, I will be on every TV channel, harping on the inadequacies of President Barrow all the time. But why our opposition are not even mentioning Barrow in inadequacy? Don't you think they are being careful not to miss out in any possible coalition with President Barrow? Don't you think that's their fear?
That's a fact. That's a factor. That's a factor. But when organizations have structural problems, at times we look at resemblance of something and we assume it's there. Almost every political party will tell you, oh, we have political structures everywhere, this, that. And they will tell you we have this capacity here and what. But you have not seen the evidence of that political party operating as a party that have functional structures, as a party that have the capacity, as a political party. This is the major issue here. Everything is revolves around the party leader. Everything revolves around the party leader. The party leader would speak about environment, if any. If any, we don't talk about environment. I'm just giving an example. On every subject, the party leader has to be the person who speaks about it. If it is women's issues, it's the party leader. If it's youth issues, it's the party leader. You hear about youth mobilizers or youth representatives. When have you seen these people actively engage Gambian youths, apart from in political rallies coming to address them? There are many things that could be done, not to wait for political rallies or elections in order to mobilize the youths or to communicate to the youths. You organize forums where the youths, and the youth for that matter, you have to be strategic. You have to speak to influential youths that will cascade the message down to areas that needed to be cascaded, and you have to give the ownership of leadership to each and every individual. We all have a position, but in the party structures, the party leader is everything, and everything is result. And he's human. He's bound to be tired and frustrated, and have the inability to perform. And we are witnessing this today, as you rightly say. Some of these political parties, small parties, they are all aging on being in a coalition with one party or other. Literally, it's not only Adama Barrow they're not criticizing, but they're not criticizing each other. Have you noticed?
Each other. Yeah.
Politics is not happening in the Gambia. It's not happening in the Gambia.
Yeah.
It's not happening in the Gambia. That's why I said we are in a crossroad. The
Yeah.
institutions are not functioning, and the opposition is part of those institutions that does not function right. I mean, I understand all the constraints they have, but we are 18 months away from elections. I mean, we are
Yeah.
not talking about the issues that need to be talked about. The COVID
Yeah.
is a reality, it's going on, but how much intervention they have done talking about the policies around COVID? Yes, they came out and helped with the sensitization. They came out
Yeah.
help with relief, but we have not had them to come out and talk about the issues surrounding the policy.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben.
Yes, Ahmad. Ahmad.
Bu ñu fitness center Body Max. Bu ñu fitness center Body Max.
Hello, Ben. Hello. Can you hear me?
Bu ñu fitness
Okay,
center Body
I can hear
Max.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My mobile battery just went off. But one final question.
Yeah.
You mentioned them already. That's the media.
Yeah.
You think our media is compromised? I think maybe I'm just going to lead you in this. They are more commercially oriented. And do you
Yes.
think they concentrated too much between Marina Parade and Kairaba Avenue? For example, these
Mhm.
rights, you made a lot of noise about this and a lot of other things. Don't you think a media should go out in villages and ask them whether they receive the rights they see at Kairaba Avenue? That's
Yeah.
just an example.
Yeah.
The Chinese, have you seen any media houses going to Gunjur,
No.
engage these Chinese?
No.
So, and also we know tough, there is something about tough that need to be questioned. Don't you think that these media houses don't want to upset the monument?
Yeah.
And coming into politics, don't you think this division we talked about here is also affecting the media houses? Like everybody is pulling on, different directions, something like that. So if
Yeah.
you can elaborate on that
And
quickly.
Ahmad, you're quite right. What we have in the Gambia is not a media house. The media house have been turned to be PR. They have been turned to be PR agents. And Ahmad, when we talk about the establishment, we are not only talking about Barrow and the government. We are talking about the functional institutions that should make the country work. And you're quite right because of they assume or they're not effective, and they assume that in order to have the revenue that they need would be through compliance, or they have the middlemen. Most of these businesses you're talking about, they take care of some of these media houses, or most of the media houses for that matter, most of them for that matter. And what happens is they would not criticize them, or they will not hold them accountable, or and that keeps them lazy. And if they cannot talk about some of these issues, they would not able to talk about other things. What they would end up doing is reporting something that is already out, to pretend that they are in the business, but they are not actually in the business. I mean, I know of, I mean, moments that articles have been written by people, and they tried those articles to be published in the Gambia, but media houses would not take them. For instance, as you said, um, Mustafa Njai Tough have a big PR going on in the Gambia, but I mean, it's just amazed me that there's no media house in the Gambia to put him on record, to find out actually the land you acquire, how much is going back to the community you acquired the land from? What have you actually done tangible for the people you took the land from? No. You will not hear these questions. You will not hear the so-called social, the corporate social responsibility is a PR. How much does that do, or what part of your profit is going to the people? You will never hear questions like this. Everything is about soft questions, as if Tough is doing a Gambian people a favor. No, he is profiting from Gambian misery. He is profiting from the chaos in that country because of the estates and everything going on. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's how many Gambians would end up owning land? How comes every part of the combo have to be an estate? What about agriculture? What about ecosystems and other things? We are not. We don't have that serious press. Again, you should ask yourself, why are they not covering Gunjur? The fish mill and the environmental issues. No, because of the Gambian representative for the Chinese will make sure that the press houses are taken care of. Just as every other issue, they make sure they have their PR. They have their PR, and their PR will go and take care of the media houses, and information will not come out. This is the reason why the effectiveness of social media. It's the same problem we have in the sense that the media houses doesn't realize that you can hold government accountable, institutions accountable, and make sure you serve society right and still be profitable. But you have to do it right. And then, then run your business properly. You'll be profitable. But no, they rely on adverts, they rely on patronage, and they rely on a lot of other things, and it makes them to become lazy. And every so-called media person now want to be a mogul or seen as a mogul, want to seen with a lifestyle that is not, that's not sustainable. People are not going into this anymore for the right reason that they want to report. They want, this is the way. They want to serve that country or serve society. This is a calling for them. This is not the days of Asantix and others. This is not the days that the independent and other people that stood up when it was really difficult. Just imagine when Yajama was brutalizing people, media houses, those some in data hydras and others stood. Again, what was happening? But look at the freedoms we have today. Gambia should be coming out. But in fact, Gambians would take their news from social media platforms. Social media platforms, that's where the news come from. And most of the most effective social media platforms are from the diaspora. Most of the other platforms are political platforms.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry to cut you, so I'm sorry, but we are 5 minutes before after our esteemed viewers. I apologize for the little technical hitch. Ben, you said Gambians are taking their keys from the social media. That's an understatement. There are a lot of comments here. I'm not going to read all of them. But one Yaya Kamara says watching from Moscow. He always watch your programs. He said thank you, Ahmad and Ben, for the show. Many of us are improving our civil education and level through these brilliant and informative programs. And Alaji second wrote, Mr. Suwareh and Mr. Manjang, good evening from Moscow once again. I'm enjoying your discussion. Ben analysis is very good, and I'm very proud of you people. May Allah continue to bless you. This one is from my cousin brother from the UK. It's a really amazing stuff. Information is a real beef. So Gambians are dying for this. So I'm going to pester you. I know you are a real busy man. And I have to tell you, Gunjur News Online and our viewers appreciate your time. So, so to our viewers, tomorrow we are continuing this discussion, but tomorrow is World Environmental Day. And all of you listening, I'm calling on you for everybody to plant a tree tomorrow. If you are in the diaspora, call your people to plant something for you. It's only a few weeks before the rains. So they only have to water it for 2 weeks, and the rain will come and you rest. So tomorrow, so we're having a panel discussions, but the big one is on Monday. This land crisis that can plunge our country into utter chaos. When I send you a sub video, I think you see it in this place. Is it Farato? Yeah,
Farad, yeah.
Farato. They are chasing the police. In fact, some got injured. And
Mhm.
again, somebody at the helm of our security, Mahmoud Jan, name features heavily in
Mhm.
that land scandal. So this is the issues we have. We cannot relent. We
No.
cannot. Our politicians are not living up to the plate. So the social media and individual like them, you have to tie your belt. So this discussion we have Pamodu Conte will be part of the no Pamodu Bojang of Nimbe Kering will be part of
Yeah.
the panel. Fatu Jau Mane will be part of the panel. Banka Mane, Dave Mane, and also Dave Conte from the US. So that discussion will continue because we heard from the physical planning permanent secretary. It was a chaotic.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable how lawless Gambia is. Ben said all the ingredients that plunge Liberia and Sierra Leone and Ivory Coast into civil war in the Gambia are all in the Gambia. So
Yeah.
Gambia is primed, to put it in the most brutal way, is primed for a civil war. So that's why we need leadership. We have seen America, their chief executive is falling on his duties, but we have seen the likes of Biden. We have seen the like of this old man. They come up, they come up and speak. Even George Bush, who is not media savvy, he came out and speak about the systemic racism in America. I think this, dampened down the situation a bit
Even
because
even yeah, as you said, the former presidents, they normally don't speak
yeah,
in other people's term, and
yes,
these things. I mean, and the conservative, even
yes,
conservative people have come
yes,
out.
yes,
The head of the military came out. People will come out. It's a
yes,
concern.
yes.
It's a concern.
So this is what we are missing in the Gambia, and it's very, very worrying. So that's why all of us, we all have an individual responsibility to make sure that we save our country from where we are. So I'll thank you once again for your custom, our esteemed viewers, and thank you once again, Ben, for your
Thank
time.
you, Ahmad. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
When your fitness center body max. When your fitness center body max. When your fitness center body max.
I'm sitting in, I'm wondering, when will you return to my life, making me whole again, 'cause I'm half the man I used to be when you loved me.
When your fitness center body max.
And many times, many come and falter along the way. Many people would love to have what we had, but since you've been gone, things are not the same in my life anymore.
When your fitness center body max.